take a look at the New York Mets again, falling from 101-win season to 75. It was one of the more puzzling seasons out there. There's a couple of puzzling seasons out there. They have a new manager now, new president of baseball ops as well. David Stern's brought in Carlos Mendoza, again, last couple of years from 2018, actually, Yankees bench coach, named new manager, and he joins us now. Carlos, congratulations to you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Appreciate having me here.
Give me something from what you learned from the Yankees, being in there, in again, a fully staffed baseball ops unit, again, fully funded. What type of things did you learn with the Yankees?
Look, I was blessed to come up as a coach in the minor league and develop as a coach with that organization. Having that ability to learn from, the information. I came up as a player in the minor leagues, as the old school, as you want to call it, with fundamentals and all that. But once I became a coach with the Yankees, having that opportunity to learn and growth as a coach, and then eventually get into the big leagues and having that opportunity to be the bench coach for Booney meant a lot. And surrounding myself with great people, smart people, but at the end of the day, it's baseball, right? But very fortunate to have that opportunity to grow up as a coach, as a person there with them.
What is the role, again, your role specifically in getting the information, as they say, to the field? Yankees have been usually quite good at that over the last decade.
Look, there's a lot of information nowadays, right? But at the end of the day, it's getting to know the players, the personalities, how much each individual can take, right? And I think that's the key. How do you blend that information? And I go back to relationships and getting to know certain individuals and how much they can take. And that for me is the key.
Okay.
Carlos, you had a lot of great teams with the Yankees. How would you want to, when you define the team you're going to have on the field with the Mets, how would you try to define the style of play that's conducive to the type of team you want to manage?
Yeah, look, when you look at the current roster with the Mets, there's a lot of talent here, right? You got guys, you got some a really good core of position players. I could mention like Lindor, McNeil, Nemo, and then some of the younger guys, the Beatty and the Acuñas of the world that are knocking at the door. This is we're talking about my style of play. It's defense, pitching defense, obviously, ability to run the bases is important, and this is something that we prioritize as we speak. So we'll see what the roster looks like when we get to opening day, but I'm excited about it.
Look, I'm excited about seeing younger guys get the opportunity. What's it going to be like managing some older guys? We know the game's young, but you've got some older guys on your roster. What's going to be like with Alonso and Lindor leading those guys?
Yeah, it's all about relationships,
That's right?
And then, being in New York with so many superstars, gave me that opportunity to learn and how to deal with those players, right? And it's nothing different with the Mets. You mentioned Pete Alonso, you mentioned Lindor, Nemo. I'm excited to have this opportunity to work with them, and finally be on the same team with them.
I want to ask you something again, and I always go back to the Yankees, right? The Yankees, beginning of last year, not last year before, you guys were off to this murderer's row start, right? And then the second half, you're basically a 500 team. Last year, the struggles. What's your view now that you've been able to process it? Like, what happened to the Yankees from the start of, first 2.5 months where you're world beaters to now last year? What happened there with essentially similar personnel?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to pinpoint, right, one specific area, but I think the number one was we struggle to stay healthy on the field. We lost a lot of key players dating back to last year, and we saw it this year. It was not different. It was hard to put together the rotation. And Judge went down, and it was hard. And like I say, it's difficult for me to kind of pinpoint one area, but experience, and like you said, we got off to a really good start last year, and then we lost guys, and it was hard for us, and then it was not different this year.
Well, I bring it up because you were 61-23. It wasn't like you were good, like you were crushing teams. Along those lines, the Mets, the reason you have a job now in Queens is they won 101 games. It was a focused unit. They were operating on all cylinders, and then last year it just wasn't happening. So what will be the key to having a focused unit that does execute? What is the magic there?
Well, I don't know that there's a magic, right? But I think just building relationship, earning the respect from players, especially me coming in this situation as a first-time manager, right? Just making sure, earning that respect from players and building those relationships. I think creating a culture where people care about each other, where we're going to connect and just get to know us so we can, respect and earn the trust.
Okay.
Carlos, following up on that, you went through Aaron Judge's walk year as a free agent, and now you're going to go through Pete Alonso's walk year becoming a free agent. What did you learn from watching that from your seat to how you might be able to help Pete walk through this year? Because this is like new form. There's a lot of pressure on players as they enter their walk year.
Yeah, I think it goes back to keeping it simple, right? You control the things that he can control, and that's what he can do on the field. Special player, special talent. And, I went through it with Aaron Judge, and it was special. He ended up, breaking the home run record, right? But again, I think he kept it simple. He went about his business the right way and didn't pay much attention to the outside noise. And he was just being Aaron Judge. And there's no different here for Pete going to his free agent year. I'm excited about it, and you will have these conversations with Pete as well.
We all know we're only as good as the people who surround us. I just watched you fill out the rest of your staff, watching you, former bench coach. We know the importance of that role. Watching John Gibbons, a beloved baseball lifer, Eric Chavez. Tell me about this staff and how excited you are to have Gibby and the rest of them on.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We are all really excited about, not only Gibby, but the whole group that we were able to put together. There's a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, but the quality of the people that we got. Gibby's got that ability to connect, to relate to players from different backgrounds. We talk about younger players, superstars. He's done that. He's been there. And having a guy like that as my right-hand man is a privilege, and I'm excited to get to work with him. And then a lot of the guys that we brought on the coaching staff, Mike Sarbor at third base. This guy, he's been a third base coach for Tito Francona for the past 11 years. Antoine Richardson. You mentioned Eric Chavez, who have got a lot of respect. I go way back with Chavi when he was a special advisor with the Yankees back in 2014. A really good relationship with him. This guy has got potential to manage, and to have him back on that role as a hitting coach with Jeremy, and then Jeremy Hefner back as a pitching coach, Jose Rosado as the bullpen coach. We are really, really, really excited about our coaching staff.
For you personally, how different is this job?
It's different because of the media responsibility, but at the end of the day, you're dealing with people, right? You're dealing with players. That's, I grew up as a coach, teaching the game, making relationships, developing relationships.
But there are demands on your time now, right? Even now, you got to put on a suit, got a nice haircut, you look sharp. But I'm always amazed when I'm friends with a guy who's a manager, how much of their day is devoted to being the front man. How much have you found that is that a difference in your life?
There's always balance, right? There's a balance, and then there's a time for everything. Yeah, this is different, talking to the media and the demand and some of the other things that I didn't have to do as a bench coach or as a coach.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I want to go back to building relationships, not only with your coaching staff, with players, front office, making sure that I have a good balance on that.
All right. So you didn't have to move, right? I don't know where you live. You don't have to answer that. But I presume if you work for the Yankees, you can just the same commute to Queens, right?
Excited to stay in New York. Family was really, really excited.
You're keeping Severino in New York as well. You've seen Sevy at the top. He's obviously a critical piece. If he comes on and does what you've seen him do.
Yeah, excited to have Sevy. This is a guy that I saw develop in the minor league system and then become an all-star. And he's been through a lot the past couple of years, but he's a competitor, and he wants the ball. We're seeing him in the biggest stage, and he wants it, and we are excited to have him on board.
All right. Carlos, congratulations to you and best of luck this year.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Carlos Mendoza there.